A beautiful evening up here at the Shuswap Community Teaching Garden on Tuesday, July 21st. It has been quite a while since I've done a garden tour, so I think it is time. I mean, the last time that I did a tour, these were just built. There were certainly no huge pole beans like there is now. I mean, the carrots, these garden beds have worked out really well. So thanks again to the men's shed for building them for us. You know, we are having some serious problems with voles, and these carrots are growing beautifully, but everything in these garden boxes are really growing beautifully. So not only is it just, you know, contained, we're keeping it watered, but we did put in new soil and compost this year. So we are very happy with the results. And as you can see over here, those are potatoes. And I mean, we've never really been able to grow potatoes up here because of the potato beetle. And so we're really hoping that, number one, these are far enough away that it's not attracting them, but also with the mesh underneath, we're really hoping that we're going to have nice big potatoes without any bites. So it's been a great season so far. We've had wonderful volunteers, and we just can't thank them enough, because it really is many hands make light work. And the garden is looking beautiful. You know, at this time of night, we get a gorgeous sunset. So I always enjoy coming up here my Tuesday nights. Beautiful flowers. We're so happy with, you know, the pollinator garden. And Sue brings up all these dahlias, which is such a treat for us to be able to see. And we've been now, as you can see, like with the zucchini, beautiful, tall. Like they just look so healthy. We plant a lot of zucchini up here so that we can harvest small zucchini. You know, the food banks actually do tend to get the overgrown, the really big ones that people don't necessarily want, but we harvest them quite small, and they're nice and tender, and they're just really enjoyable for cooking. But since, you know, the spring, we have now harvested these beds, so we have second plantings going. New beans, we're going to be putting in some new cabbages and broccoli. Like I said, we are having some major problems with voles, and if anybody has any advice, we're trying some traps right now. We're a natural garden, so we're not going to be using poisons or anything like that. And being volunteers, we can't be doing anything that's particularly dangerous. So, you know, big snap traps, but they are taking out our carrots. You know, you can see the challenge. They're pulling them right underneath the ground. So if you have any advice, we would love to hear it. This is one of the key reasons, though, that we've built those raised beds. And hopefully, and if that's the case, then maybe we'll build even more, and that way we'll be able to grow these root crops. We have big, huge bunching onions coming up. These ones here just were actually knocked over by a hose, but as you can see, everything is nice and tall. When bulbing onions are ready is when you will see them naturally have their necks fall over. This was unnatural, but we're just going to let them size up anyway, so we'll be starting to harvest those probably at the end of the month here. These garden beds we have planted, these were garlic, and we amended it with lots of compost, and we've planted new broccoli and cabbages for the remaining fall season. The beans are starting, so we have multiple crops of beans. You know, they've actually caught up quite a lot, so even though these ones were planted well ahead of the next round, these ones are the ones that are really flourishing, and we're going to have another round of more beans towards the back. And then, like I said, we just planted another row. So lots and lots of beans. So we really appreciate the help on Mondays, because it is a bit time consuming. We've just harvested our lettuce, so we're going to be planting some more beets, carrots. And this is an experiment for this year. We're trying our winter squash. So we have red curry, which are actually kind of a smaller squash, and also sugar pie pumpkins, and they are going to be climbing up our trellises. So we've had sugar snap peas up here, and now they're going to be dying back, and so we're going to let the climbing, squash and pumpkins will climb a fence, so we're going to see them climb up here and take over this area. And in here we actually have some more pole beans and the start of our cucumbers at the back. And then in here, these were slow to start, but man, these cucumbers are now taking off, and we have an incredible wall, as you can see, of cucumbers. We have been picking the main heads off of the broccoli, and so these might look a little bit unruly, but as you can see here, you know, we cut off the main head, and then as you can see, it starts to create all these little side shoots. So that's one of the great things. Cabbages and broccoli will create side shoots. whereas like a cauliflower does not. But yeah, you can see that again here. Cut off the main head and just continue to let the side shoots grow. And that's a way that you can have quite a prolonged harvest of broccoli. We do grow celery up here. We don't grow a ton. It's one of those crops that really does need a lot of water. And so we have it planted, like we're strategic in where we plant certain things. Our cucumbers, for instance, or these water-loving crops are at where the start of our irrigation brings the water. And so these are the ones that tend to get water the most. But, when you grow your own celery, it's well worth doing. But at the same time, you have to know that it takes a lot of water. There are certain ways, when you go buy that sort of pale green, crunchy, watery celery from the store, it's grown in a very specific way. They actually usually cover up the stems and that kind of blanches it. But real celery grown in your garden that photosynthesizes, it's going to green up and it's quite strong. So you don't need to use as much, but it is one of those water hungry crops. And so it's something to keep in mind, but it certainly does grow here. We also want to thank again Buckerfields for their sponsorship and support for this garden project. They really appreciate people, growing their own, obviously having livestock, that's their business. And they've helped to provide us all the materials to create these trellises. And then we have our wonderful volunteer, Daryl, who gets up here and he puts them up. But this way we can grow vertically. And that's just really allows us to we can have tomato plants like 1-2 feet apart and growing up. And this will allow us to grow more food in the small space. And that is really our goal. Maximum amount of food that we can in this small space. So even more tomatoes here. And we also have, they've finally taken off as well. These will be cantaloupes. So we are producing cantaloupes up here, which is a really nice treat, I think, for people at the food bank as well. And yeah, they were slow to start for that really slow spring, but they are definitely taking off now. Sue's seed saving garden is really interesting, and it's so worth coming up just to see how seeds are truly produced. These are cabbages, and most people we think of a cabbage just as it is, but then we don't really think about how it produces seeds. So it is a biennial. It produces seeds in its second year, and so these are little seed pods, as you can see here. Like broccoli and things like that, it produces a pod with multiple seeds, and we save and collect them, and we will have our own seeds. Same with onions, and then we have beets, and then we have in the back that beautiful umbral. That is a carrot seed. So worth doing and learning about, because from one single carrot you can grow, I don't even want to know, 500, 700 seeds just from one carrot. It's quite incredible. So it's worth coming up and learning, and we'll be doing some classes about seed saving coming up. Here's those extra beans. We've got purple and we've got green, and so it's fun to see the difference. Purple beans do end up turning green when you cook them, but it can certainly look really nice at the start. So that will be coming very soon. And we have our cabbages and more carrots, and then we also have some more winter squash. These are more of a mound squash, so they grow as a bit more of a just one large sort of mound, not spreading too much. These ones are going to be sweet dumplings. They're like a smaller delicata. And we have patty pans and more yellow zucchinis in the back, and leeks, which is such a nice thing to have. We're going to be harvesting these slowly here, but we really like them to size up. But it's just such a nice thing because they're quite expensive to buy. And so this is something that we provide to the folks who are utilizing second harvest. And it's just such a nice thing for soups and stews in the wintertime. We are doing potatoes back here as well, which again, we have really struggled with in the past. And we tried very hard. It looks like we were quite successful in the spring to have kept on top of the potato beetle and making sure that we were finding their eggs or squishing them. And so, I don't think I've ever actually seen this many healthy potato plants in this garden before. So I'm really hopeful that they will be there when we go to dig them up and won't have been stolen from beneath. But it's been nice that, again, many hands. This is why organic is maybe a bit more expensive, and that is because it takes more people. It takes time to do things without chemicals. And so we'll stay tuned to find out how this all goes. And, you know, as you come to the back of the garden, this is Elmarie's permaculture display garden, and you get to see quite a variety of plants that you may not have seen before. And if you're ever curious to know how does amaranth grow, and how do sweet peas look, and all the different varieties of calendula, how about something like bee balm, which attracts hummingbirds and so many bees. And take a look at this plant. So this plant here is auroch. It's like a wild spinach, tastes just like spinach. This is one plant that came up in the spring. Couple of leaves, 2 little itty bitty leaves that unfurled and grew into this enormous beauty. I was going to say monstrosity, but this is an incredible plant. That is a lot of seeds. So if you are interested, again, this is one of the very first greens that comes up in the spring. It self-seeds. It tastes just like spinach. ORACH. If you are interested in getting some seeds, check in with us this summer. And in this display garden, there's just a variety of flowers, things that attract bugs and birds and predaceous wasps. And we've got more zucchini. This plant here, I'm totally blanking on its name right now, but it has been incredible for attracting pollinators, and cauliflowers and melons and all kinds of different plants in here. And you get to sort of see how it all works when nature is working together and you are using polyculture instead of monoculture, and seeing how things go. Now this area doesn't get irrigated except for rain and sprinkler. So it's something that we have to definitely keep up on. But the Savoy cabbages always do really well. And you just get to see such a variety of plants here. So as always, we love to see new people coming up to learn with us. Learn while doing is our phrase. You do learn a lot just while you are here, helping us harvest on Mondays, or coming when we have staff here to assist in weeding. You know, you get to identify different kinds of weeds. You get to see how we plant and space things. How do we care for things? How do we manage pests? All of those things you learn when you are up here, and you also are helping us do this service for our community. We are growing this beautiful, naturally grown, super nutritious food to share in the community so that everyone can have this type of food. And it's really important right now because we've also heard, food bank funding is very limited, and they have to buy the food, and it's not going as far. There's more need, and there's also food's getting more expensive to buy as well, as we all know. So if you can help us grow this food, we definitely appreciate it. Thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to Buckerfields and to Reliable Septic for allowing us to have the portable toilet here. Thanks to Sue and Elmarie for their leadership, and to our community for supporting Shuswap Food Action Society so that we can do this work. Learn more, shuswapfood.ca/community-garden, to see how you can sign up to be a volunteer, or the days that we have some garden staff here. Good night.